back. Well, we're going to have a discussion on how the telecom sector performed in the last 5 years of the NDA government. We'll get our experts to join us in just a minute. But before that, just a word on the markets. We are seeing some bit of pressure coming in on the mid-cap index and on the Nifty Bank. Of course, there are expiry pressures as well, perhaps. But at the moment, there is some fairly serious red tick that you are seeing in stocks like Yes Bank, a whole host of PSU banks, of course, not material to the Nifty Bank, but IndusInd again is casting some pressure on IndusInd and Yes Bank really casting pressure on the Nifty Bank. So that index is down about 0.25%.
Okay, so yes, as I said, even yesterday in late trade is when the little bit of pressure showed up, but today it's earlier. So the Bank Nifty, after falling 300 points yesterday, has fallen another 80 odd points today. Just some stocks on the upside though. Lakshmi Vilas Bank, after 2 days of a sell-off, is making an attempt to recover. So that stock is up over 2% right now. And Ashok, Leyland has been playing for a bit of a comeback in the last few days. So that's another stock that's looking pretty good. But let's also talk about our special series, elections and the markets. We've in fact been featuring one sector every day to tell you how the sector has fared in the last 5 years of the government. Today on our radar, we have the telecom sector. Our colleague Reema is here to give us more details on that. Reema.
Thanks so much for that. Bear in mind that the sector is governed less by the government and more by the regulator TRAI as well as competition. But to run you through how the last 10 years have been, the two key highlights under the UPA2, that for the first time we had spectrum auctions being conducted in 2010, and then in February of 2012, the Supreme Court cancelled 122 licenses, forcing many players to exit. Now come to the last 5 years. The biggest disruption was caused on account of the entry of Reliance Jio. Voice calls became free, data rates dropped, and we had the merger of Vodafone as well as Idea. They were pushed into a merger, in fact. The NDA government's emphasis was on Digital India. The financial payment platform UPI was a big success, while the BharatNet project is still limping. A vision document was also released which envisages a $100 billion investment into the sector by 2022 and rationalization of levies. The government also provided some financial relief by extending the spectrum repayment timelines and allowed for spectrum trading as well as spectrum sharing. Where both the governments seem to have fallen short to the sector, one, the high-priced auctions continued, and secondly, PSU telecoms continue to struggle. Just to put some numbers, the sunrise sector seems to have stagnated. So on your screen, you can see in the last 5 years, the revenues have been flat around that 1.5 lakh crore number. If you now look at the way the subscriber growth has been, the subscriber growth has seen an annual increase of about 4.5% to 5%. But the biggest jump has actually come in the internet subscribers, where the internet subscribers have practically doubled to 49 crore subscribers, courtesy the cheap data plans. The surprising statistic is that rural penetration, however, has increased only marginally in the last 5 years and now stands at 44%. As you can imagine, the average revenue per user has also dropped now to double digits on account of those free voice calls and cheaper data rates. So now, as of F518N, it stood at close to about 80 rupees. The problem for the sector has been the very high debt. At the end of 2019, it was less than 1 lakh crore, and now as we speak, it's in excess of 7.5 lakh crore. So the massive fundraise is undertaken by the incumbents to bring down the industry debt levels. But what lies ahead for the sector are the 5G auctions. A quick stock check then. Incumbents have underperformed in the last 5 years. Bharti Airtel was absolutely flat. Vodafone Idea saw its value erode by 26%. In terms of an annual stock price decline, while Reliance Jio's aggressive plans were rewarded with the stock outperforming the Nifty.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Reema. That sets the stage to discuss how the sector performed government-wise, policy-wise